Hello, everyone, and welcome to you wherever you are around the world to another webinar and live talk here at RACE. RACE, which is raise awareness of coaching and education. From time to time, we try to bring to the audience topics that are related to coaching that we believe could be hopefully beneficial. Today with me here, I have wonderful panelists, so hopefully we'll get to learn a lot from their experience in coaching. I'll give you the floor to introduce yourselves to the audience. So Angela, Silvia, Marie, I'll let you as well to choose. Who'll go first?
Okay, I'll go first.
Yep.
Hello, everybody. My name is Angela Quinones-Teran. I am a transformational coach based in the UK. I've been working as a coach for 5 years now, and I am combining my two passions, which are coaching and education. Right now, as the director and founder of the Education Hall, we are working with corporate and education leaders, trying to implement and foster a coaching culture. And we're also giving some CPD courses to corporate and to the education sector, as I said before. And the new thing that we're doing this year is that we're starting to do some social work as well with the CIC company, which is Community Interest Company, which is very interesting. So that's us.
Thank you, Angela. All right, Marie or Sylvia?
Okay, so hello everybody, I'm Silvia. I'm an executive and corporate coach. I've been working in this area for pretty much almost my career, starting as an HR leader before in blue chip companies and then moving into executive coaching in 2011. And as I said, I mostly assist and support managers and wider population at the moment, as I'm one of those idealistic support or democratizing coaching, so opening it to everybody. And that's pretty much what I do with my company, which is SRA Coaching. Thank you.
Thank you. Marie.
Perfect.
Last but not least.
Yeah. So my name is Marie-Alex Saaeva. I'm the founder and executive director of Rewire International. And so I consider myself as a skillpreneur and empowerment architect. So what we do with Rewire is that we do coach executives and also the stakeholders in developing their skills. And then we go downwards, where we work a lot with NGOs as well, and to gather whatever they would need. Yeah.
Lovely, thank you. So pretty much really the topics today is I'm hoping the right cup of your tea. You've had quite some experience with corporates, so coaching conversations at the workplace, so skills and professional development. I always love to start by asking my guests, from their point of view, what is coaching? Good question, I hope.
It's a beautiful question.
I think that at this point, for me, coaching is it's an approach. It's a way of communicating, not necessarily a method, not necessarily something that is contained, but it's something that is just out there. And I think that after so many years of actually coaching, I do believe that it's a way of communicating, a way of of having a conversation where you raise awareness of where you are at the moment, your surroundings, where do you want to go, and what do you need to do to get there, basically. That's what coaching is for me at the moment.
Lovely. Thank you, Angela.
I would say that coaching for me would be more of empowering people and developing their skills, and helping them to find where the strength is, and that path that they are going to take along, and having the accountability part as well, and the live feedback that may come from the coach itself. The people, I would say, like, it's more of, for me, coaching will be empowering people and developing their potential furthermore.
Right, lovely. Yeah, it's all about the topic. Absolutely, today's topic. Right, Silvia.
Yes, when I think of coaching and I put it into, let's say, context, so working with corporations, what I see at the moment is that pretty much everybody is through this transformation, types of transformation. And so for me, it's a transformation solution at the moment, coaching. So it's it's this process that help people manage and thriving through change. And actually, it helps us to prepare them for the future. So when I see what there is, and here it comes also the topic about skills, of course, and that it's absolutely necessary. So when if I look at coaching from an absolute abstract and general point of view, all the things said resonate with me, and so I fully agree with all the others. And I would simply add, when I put it into the specific context of what we see in the marketplace, in this dynamic and the changing world, what it really is related to corporates and businesses is really a transformation solution. It's what really they need to face these challenging times.
Right, lovely. So I've heard from all these definitions, like awareness, development, and then the skills and performance and transformation, which is pretty much business. So if we dive into the topic now, how essential do you see, from your experience, coaching is in business?
It's definitely vital. I mean, it's when we look at the top challenges that companies and businesses are facing, which could be, it goes from understanding customers, building and maintaining a culture, attracting and retaining talents, regaining innovation, so regenerating innovation. I mean, when we look at all of those challenges that businesses are facing at the moment, coaching can answer all of those questions and can cover all of those things. So if you have a very effective program, this is definitely what coaching supports, according to my experience and my view.
Right, thanks. Angela and Marie.
I believe that, especially if we look a little bit back, and taking consideration what we had during COVID time, and I believe, like, from what I have seen in the coaching world, would be that right now COVID made us really rethink the way that the businesses were going, and the way that old methods were not really working with the new and the reality of the world at the time. And it's as Silvia said, it's a vital tool for the businesses. And nowadays, a 21st century post-COVID company that does not have a coaching program, or does not offers a fostering, I would say, like, employee development, is not a company that people see themselves working in either. So I believe that coaching became extremely vital to the company and for its development. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'll get back to that point shortly after Angela. Yes, Angela.
For me, definitely, where there are people, there is communication. And for a business to thrive, we need to communicate or at least speak the same language. And for me, coaching does that. Coaching is a tool, a framework, or a way of allowing people to communicate in a proactive way, to communicate in a way that they feel that they're listened, that they are being taken into account, in a way that that the business, any business in general, in any industry, can thrive. Because again, if you think about it, what business want to do is normally they need to change their strategies, they need to change people, they need to change whatever they're doing in their process to be able to achieve a goal. And if that goal is achieved in a way that it's empowering everyone, all the stakeholders, then you will have a successful business. So that's crucial. For me, again, if people can start bringing coaching into their business, any kind of business, in a way that they learn to communicate in a better way, in an empowering way, then the business is going to thrive. And then the business is going to be successful in many ways.
Yeah, so I like what Maurice mentioned, how COVID was some sort of a wake up call. And then yeah, so back to Sylvia and Angela's points as well. So we do believe coaching is vital, is essential, is important for many reasons. Some of them you've mentioned. But this is us coaches here. So this is the community of coaches. But what would it be that really push businesses into accepting coaching? Because from what I see, and I could be wrong, but there is that force that's still not really embracing coaching. So what do you think?
I think that businesses are slightly changing. So yes, there is skepticism. Yes, there is still some resistance. On the other end, if we look at how businesses usually face those challenges or those transition times or difficult times, like it could be, like Marie mentioned, the COVID time, which just revolutionized a bit the way of doing business. I mean, when I see these traits, what they do, they tend either to reorganize, restructure, they go through upskilling, reskilling, they go into through internal mobility, for instance, and all of those kind of measures can be supported by coaching. And businesses are seen now because in some ways they are able to measure better the results of coaching. Because when you work on engagement, for instance, or like we said, internal mobility. So if you look at promotability, promotability, yes. If you say, I mean, how you promote people internally in the organization, it's actually something that they can measure with metrics. They can have, I mean, you have surveys, internal surveys, you have employee surveys, you have 360 degrees feedback. So you measure the results of coaching through another way. And if they see the value and the monetary value that there is behind those things, it's much, I'm not saying easier, but it could be, and we have more solid basis when we go and discuss why a company should introduce coaching. In the past, we were just presenting, I would say, like, we're not really assumptions, but just nothing that was difficult, something that was more difficult to bring to evidence-based metrics. Now we can do it. It's not always easy, of course, depends on the type of coaching, but that's something that can be done. in particular now, if today we are talking about skills, I mean, if we look at that, coaching, performance coaching or skill coaching is something that can be measured, and actually the return is pretty much immediate. Goal attainment is there, it's measurable, and it's easy. So I think that we have more topics that we can use to convince also skeptical people that actually coaching brings some benefits. There are more researches, more studies that are available at the moment. I mean, in the last decade, I think it's really developed over and in particular, it picked up a lot from the 2020 onwards. So if we look at numbers of people now that they move into this profession, hopefully in a professional way. So I think we have many more tools in our hands that we can use to convince them. Of course, it all requires a mindset shift and a lot of other efforts to open it to everybody and do it introduce it in a company. So, but I think we are getting there easily.
Right.
I like to be optimistic.
Yeah, I think that's the optimistic point of view. Okay,
I'm
Angela,
a dreamer.
thank you. That's good. Angela, you wanted to say something?
I think that COVID was a wake-up call, because I believe that the companies were paying attention more to what was being done, but not who was doing it, basically. So when COVID came, people started having all this awareness of a pandemic, of being home and not being able to interact and not being able to have their normal routines. And then they started feeling how they really, how they were really feeling, right? And then the companies started saying, okay, I mean, there must be something that we can do. How can we actually support these people that are working for us without going all the way to therapy, without going all the way to their personal life, but actually giving them some sort of support? What do they need? So some people needed to be listened. Some people needed to be guided in a way, or at least to being aware of what was going on really for them. And coaching was, at that moment, the perfect tool for it. Coaching is not new. Coaching has been around for years and decades. But now it's becoming this absolute amazing trend, which is not great, but because it is very trendy now. So it's a bit how you call it, dangerous in a way. But coaching was there. Coaching was available. Coaches started giving that support that companies needed at that time. And not only for the company to develop whatever they needed to develop in terms of skills, in terms of retention, in terms of KPIs, but also for the people. What do you need to do to feel better, to be able to perform better, to be able to work in a better way in the situation that you are at the moment with what you have around? And coaching was that tool. And I think that after that, people are starting seeing coaching not as a pseudoscience, which it is in a way, but as a tool, as a framework, as something that was actually quite reachable, that they could use it in such a powerful way that they realized that it was not only good for them as individuals, but it was also good for them as a community, and for them as a business and as an industry. So again, I think that in a way, the pandemic put coaching out there in a nice way. I mean, with all the struggles and everything, but it was actually good that it happened and that people started realizing what was really going on for them.
Right. Thanks, Marie.
I mean, I believe that Silvia and Angela, they really went deep into in the topic, and they have covered most of it. I will speak a little bit from my personal experience in regards to pre-COVID, post-COVID part. in the coaching world, and I love that. And Silvia, Angela, please add if this is something that you felt as well, because we're in different markets, and how the companies were doing from your side. But for me, it was pre-COVID. It would be more of the companies were doing it to tick off the list. Like they had to do it because as an organization, like they had like this list where they just had to tick it off. They would not put their heart and soul into it, like just like 2-3 hours, okay, a day of coaching, and that would be gone. And without really looking into the consistency of what has been delivered, etc. And I would say like at that time, with many companies, at least in the Middle East, of what I have noticed was it was more towards the personal integrity of the coach, what the coach will be delivering as a content and as a quality-based content to the coachees, right? Versus post-COVID, where companies started, as Angela and Silvia has said it perfectly well, where they started to be more engaged into it. And those that were more pessimistic, they went through this emotional roller coaster, I would go that way, working from home, and actually working around the clock from home, because we have a lot of companies in the Middle East that work with US, etc. And post working hours, people will be calling. There will be no more distinction between personal life versus work life. People would get calls at 10, 11 p.m. and they would not know as well how to put the boundaries in regards to where is my personal versus where is my work life ends and starts. And I believe from that point, coaching is developing, is getting more towards where the stakeholders and people, the organizations are more accountable, and they want to see more of a quality-based content that is delivered and that being coached. And I would say as well in regards to the coaching industry, in regards to coaches, because before I would say like everyone could call themselves as a coach, whereas now we are going more into being more structured. We have, for instance, ICF that is, etc. Like that, and companies are looking into it now. They will be like, okay, I want an ICF certified coach or any other thing. So they are being much more. They're looking into the quality that is going to be delivered, and they start to work more with the coach themselves, because before it will be, oh, I want a communication course, or I want, and that's it. And what is in the communication course? Question mark, right? Whereas right now it is, okay, I want a communication course because we have those type of struggles we have seen. So we did the survey. Those are the things where we have challenges, etc. We want to overcome them as a team. We want to build, etc. And so they are working hand in hand right now with the coaches. Before coaches, at least from my personal experience, I would be running after the training department, and I'll be like, okay guys, I want to sit with you and I want to discuss with you certain things in regards to the program. And they'll be like, yeah, it's okay, it's fine, like those things. Whereas now they are like, okay, so we have this program starting, so we need to create a timeline. We need to talk about what is going to be discussed and what's going to be done within that particular topic. So I'm being extremely positive in regards to development. I would say like coaches themselves, but also the industry and the companies. And I would also say like emphasize on what Angela said, which is coaching becomes a very big trend at the moment, and we have to really find that middle ground where we are being, I would say like to find the right middle ground between what the customer needs and what I would say like what the companies they need and what we can deliver.
Yeah. Sorry, Jacob, going back to what you said about the, companies being a bit skeptical about coaching. I think that what Marie just said, it's a huge thing. I think that one of the reasons why some people are still not sure about coaching is because at some point, coaching became such a trend that everybody called themselves a coach. So when they were given the opportunity to deliver, they didn't. They didn't do it, in the right way. So people didn't have a good experience with the coaches. So right now, some of them say like, no, coaching is really not something that we can trust, or it's not accurate, or it's not measurable, or it's not even good. But what we're trying to do, accredited and certified coaches are trying to do, is actually being as professional, as ethical as possible to actually overcome that bad reputation that is, that had happened in some countries, and that's why it's so important, as Mary said, that we insist that companies and individuals in general work with accredited and certified coaches, whether it's ICF, International Coaching Federation, where it's the EMCC, the European Mentoring and Coaching Council, anything, but someone, some sort of body that actually supervise the coaches, as any other industry, really, as any other profession. So I wanted to make that little point.
Yeah, thanks. I think this is another topic we will tackle here on race, which is coaching as a profession. And yeah, you mentioned absolutely there is nothing to hide about it. That yes, coaching becoming a trend. Yeah, a lot of individuals jumped on that ship and just called themselves coaches without really the proper accreditations. And back to Silvia's point. So this is a dissertation written by Dr. Ashley. And yeah, so this is the developmental coaching. I've got this, I've taken this quote from her dissertation. And yeah, it is true that a lot of articles nowadays, studies, research papers, just to show and prove how beneficial coaching is. And then she goes on saying, this is the end of the quote. Now, you mentioned among all of you, so we have got coaching, right? But from what I've heard, so businesses probably want to do coaching and want to benefit from it, but there is, for example, what we've mentioned about accreditation. If we want to talk about coaching and mentoring, so just, being honest about it. So I've got coaching and I've got mentoring. Which is which? Which one would I go with as a business?
I think it depends. I mean, because they deliver two different things. So the whoever is making the decision in the business or the company needs to know what is exactly what they're looking for. Therefore, they can be either suggested to work with a mentor or a coach. You need to remember, for everyone that's listening, that mentoring requires that the person has prior knowledge on the same business or the same issue or matter or topic that they're going to work on. Coaching doesn't. You don't need to know anything about the industry itself, what they're doing, whether it's a petroleum company or a pharmaceutical or any other kind of company. What you need to know is your skills. What are you going to work with? What is the person struggling with? And that's the difference. You, in mentoring, you're going to be guided. In mentoring, you're going to be told how to, or suggested, let's put it like that, suggested what to do, or at least giving a fan of possibilities according to my prior experience in that field or in that topic. In coaching, not necessarily. In coaching, you don't advise. We all know that it's non-advisory, that we don't even give suggestions unless the client asks for some sort of suggestions. But we need to also be very careful and say, like, this is what I see, but what is your decision? What would you like? Because at the end of the day, they know deep inside what they really need to change in order to achieve their goal or to succeed in whatever they're doing. So there is in my opinion, there is no fine line in coaching and mentoring. There is a very clear difference between coaching and mentoring, and which is why we as coaches also have supervision and mentoring as well, because it's someone else that has way more hours than us, that have been coaching at a different level or a higher level, to put it in those terms. So if we ever need assistance or struggle for some sort of situation, we use that mentoring supervision for help. So that's what I believe and what I see is the difference between coaching and mentoring.
All right, lovely. Sylvia and Marie.
Yes, I mean, there's a similarity between the two, which, I mean, both of them are learner-centric. So in both cases, coaching and mentoring, it's not you, it's the other, it's the learner. So it's center of them, but definitely the approach, you differ in approach and purpose. So this is what happens. So if on one side, like Angela said, if on one side we have a mentor that is someone more experienced, so you build a one-to-one relationship that is based on learning from somebody else's experience and then take it afterwards. So we look at what comes after, is projected into the long term. In coaching, we have something that is a specific goal for a specific skill development, for instance, in a specific time frame, and usually short term, very short term. So we have coaching is a process at the end. So you have something that needs to be a goal to achieve, and that's it. In mentoring, you have a much longer term relationship. So there are these, the objective is different. So you have a short-term objective, a long-term objective. Skills that you develop are different. And everything is based, as I said, on the experience of the other. And like Angela said, coaching instead doesn't give pieces of advice. Something that the mentor is there to do, is there to inspire, is there to help. The coach is there to help the other to find what they have already. The answer is already in them, in the coachee, and the coachee has to just find the way that is right for them. So no directive coaching.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sylvia. Marie.
Well, I believe that Angela and Silvia, they have really covered all of it. I would say like it really depends on the organization and what they're looking for. And I would say like coaching and mentoring could be layered one above the other as well, because it depends on the focus and the time frame, right, that we are having. I would say like coaching would be more for short-term fix and specific goal, whereas mentoring will be more on a longer term, like in the whole development of the organization itself. So, but I mean, like they beautifully covered both all of the aspects of it. So, yeah.
So what I'm hearing from you all here, as a corporate, I need both, not either or. Is that true?
You may need both.
You could.
Depends.
Right. Okay. All right. So back to coaching. KPI. Far as I know, it's quite an important topic in a lot of within a lot of businesses and corporates. And once you mention KPI, employees just get that shiver of KPI. Can coaching help with KPI? Let's start with Marie this time.
I mean, definitely depends on the company's KPIs, right? So that's the first thing is, but at the same time, when the coaches enters a company, we have to as well understand and go through the KPIs of the company and the ability of and what is going on within the organization itself, and to see where we can light the bridges between both of them. And I would say like definitely coaching is something that is there to boost the employees, the development, like in order to achieve those KPIs.
But the reason I'm asking Marie and Angela and Sylvia, it may have happened that certain company brings on board a coach, and then after that coaching session, employees find themselves into a situation where they either being rated low rate, or even extreme situations where they get let's say unwanted results, and then they connect it to coaching. So now if we bring coaching and then try to tackle KPI now, how do we get that? You know, in coaching, you need to get that trust and confidence from the coachee. But how are you going to deal with that? And the employee has got KPI just, you know, the back of their head, be evaluated, and eventually they would mistake coaching as evaluation. Right, I'll give you the floor.
I don't know if
Yes.
I got your question right, but when you start a coaching program or whatever,
Yeah.
goals has to be clear. I mean, everything has to be clearly communicated, transparent, and widely clarified. So if I think of, for instance, the first session that you have with your coachee, it's actually where you start working on their specific goals, so helping them to identify and drill down and dig deep to what the specific goal is. So automatically also a measurable goal if we think still in the concept of a SMART goal. When we work on a chemistry session or in the first session, we make it clear that there's nothing around assessment or thing that goes into coaching. The employee or the coachee at least should get out of his coaching sessions knowing, okay, I'm learning something. I know that I will be probably assessed against that in the organization, but I'm here because I want to change. So the idea of the reason why the employee is there, plus a clear explanation of what coaching is and what the outcome should be, and there should be also a clear understanding of the outcome or an expectation of the outcome, should, I think, overcome the fear of the assessment. I think it's also, when you were talking about trust, it's also a responsibility of a coach to build that environment, of the safe environment where we can build trust to each other. If an employee comes in scared because, okay, I'm here, I mean, many times it's happened to me, especially in the past, but still sometimes, that somebody comes and says, okay, I'm here because my boss sent me. I mean, my boss decided I have to take up coaching.
Yeah.
And they feel like it's punishment, fundamentally, because they say, I did something wrong. I'm not up to the performance that they expect me to be. Again, it goes down to communications on how did the boss communicate the reason why you are going through this. So as a coach, we have this responsibility, and we have this duty of care, we call it. And we have a duty of care, not just with the coachee, but it's a systemic thing. So care goes from the sponsor to the coachee, to the organization, to the manager, or whoever. So before we start any program, it should definitely be clear what coaching is and what coaching is not, and how this should be communicated. So have you communicated clearly to your employee why they are doing coaching? What's happening? If there is no, first it has to start also with the trust between the manager or whoever, the boss, and the one who is going. And then we, of course, have to support this in building this trust and this safe environment, so that the person feels comfortable enough to understand that there's yes, there might be an assessment tomorrow, but it's all a learning process.
Right.
So they are not there because of things. And then, of course, you may find some barriers. Then it depends on the individual. Of course, every time we never know where we find. Everybody reacts in a different way. But there are specific moments in the process, and I think in particular at the very, very beginning, where we can clarify this.
Right. Angela and Marie.
Yeah, I would add that there is also a part of this confidentiality, right, that we have between the trainer and I would say like the coachee, the coach and the coachee, I would say. And this is something that is highlighted always during the first session. Personally, it happened to me where sometimes like companies where they wanted to know every outcome of the session, and me as a coach, I was like, I'm sorry, I'm not the right person for you. You know, like if there are some people that would be willing to do it, that's fine by me. You know, like, but I'm not the right person for that particular job. You know, like, so it's definitely how what Silvia, she said, it is in regards to building the trust, and that comes, I would say, like with the sessions and with what it has been done during the session. But it also, there is this which is a huge highlight on the confidentiality.
Right. Angela.
For me, from my experience, it all starts with the leadership, with what kind of leadership it's being used in the company. So if it's a transactional leadership, the employees are going to feel threatened. They're going to feel that I'm here to be assessed, and if I don't do as I've been told, then I'm going to be in trouble. So, which is why I start the process from the top, always with the leader, always with the person in charge of making the decisions. So as long as the leadership is involved in the coaching process, I think that it's easier for us coaches to work with the employees and the stakeholders. Therefore, yes, you need to build the trust, but the trust is not only going to be built during the session, but it's also how the coach actually works within the organization, because it's not, when we are coaching in a company, we're not just a ghost, that are never seen or or never around. We are being part of the corporate process. We're being part of the changing process, and probably the development or of whatever goal or issue. But it's a group work. It's never one person, and it's never coach and coachee, especially in corporate. It's a group work. It's that starts from the top, that involves more people. Therefore, we need to communicate in a way that they know that this is done to improve as a whole, not because there is a problem with you, not because your key performance indicators are high or they're low, or no. It's because the company is it's giving you something so you can improve. Therefore, the whole company or the team improves. So in that way, I think that that's how you build the trust. It's never on one point. It's never on one stage. Is being part of the process. Is being part of the culture of the company, because that's the whole point. Coaching is part of the culture of the company. Therefore, people know that if there is a coach involved, is for them to use to get better, to be better, and to perform better.
Right. Silvia, quick follow-up on Angela. Do you think coaching starts bottom up or top bottom?
I think coaching can start whenever they want. It can be bottom up, top down. I think it's relevant is that to have a successful process, there must be a strategic approach behind. So if there's no strategy from the organization, that's going to fall. Yeah. So like Angela mentioned, a continuous learning and development culture. That's the first thing in the organization. So that's something that must be there. Buy-in from the leadership, definitely, because I can't go and do something if my boss is the first one that criticizes it. You might start with a pilot program, and this is something that I see happening quite regularly, just to build, again, a bit of thing. Then the approach most of the time is really top-down, as we said. Yeah. But when we talk in particular about skills, it can also be a bottom-up. So the employees, they could be a good employees who went through coaching and had a positive experience. They could just be promoting actually the positive results of that. And as I said, now being able to measure in particular outcomes from skill training, for instance, also skill coaching, that's something that can help promoting it more and more and more.
Right.
Of course, we know that every time people, I mean, you go through coaching if you really want to change. So change happens if I want to. So
Yeah.
there must be intention in doing that. So top-down approach where I put all the population through because I oblige them to go through, like Marie mentioned at the beginning, is just tick the box. Okay, like I said, it's not a very strategic, I mean, it could be a strategy, yes, but maybe not a very successful one. Thinking behind and good planning, and as I said, culture, mind shift, and leadership will support wherever you decide to start.
Right. Marie, where do you think we should start?
I would say it really depends on organization, I would say, like if the organization on the top leadership, they understand the value of coaching and they are in that coaching promotion, I mean, like promoting the coaching, like in the organization, then we can start a bit of everywhere where they do believe in the results of what coaching is bringing, right? And so then they will be reinforcing because they understand the impact. However, if we start with companies that are the top management is not really believing in it, I believe that we should really start with a top-down approach where they could see the impact that it could bring, and then they will be positively reinforcing it going downwards.
Right. Time does fly by. I think before we leave our audience, I was really interested in this. I call it quote now. Angela is smiling because I think she's the one who wrote this comment. I'd like to hear about it, Angela, a little bit.
About the good, the bad, and the ugly of soft skills?
Yes, please.
I think that soft skills are important, definitely, but I also believe that soft skills need to be embraced by the whole company and the whole corporate, because it doesn't matter how much invest there is in developing in certain departments and developing these soft skills in the corporation. If the management, if the leader does not have those soft skills, then it's going to be a struggle. It's going to be a challenge. Doesn't matter how much coaching hours you invest, definitely, and that's the ugly part, right? Because as Marie said, if you just tick the box because we need to comply with soft skills and we're going to do, learning and development and all of that, but I'm not really interested as a manager, things are not going to change. And that's why I talk about a coaching culture. That's why I talk about a change in the culture itself. So there is good things, obviously, like there are good things, obviously, like people are going to start communicating in a better way, feeling better, doing things in a better way. We're going to promote mental health, well-being, a coaching culture, and everything is going to be lovey-dovey. But again, if we are not, as a company, we are not all investing in it from the top to the bottom, sideways and in every single way, shape, or form, then those soft skills are going to be not nurtured. Are going to be actually weak point. Because if I communicate well, if I am proactive, but the rest of the company, whoever is on top of me or whoever is making the decisions, don't see that, doesn't even value that, that's going to become a problem. You know what I mean? So something that is positive actually turns into negative, which is why from the work that I do try to bring the leaders on board first. So when they see the change in themselves and they believe in it, they start, of course, promoting. It's not a thing about making everyone doing it or not, but it's just, the same way that you start with a workshop, the same way that you start with a speaking gig or something, and then you open the door for the people that feel that they have this tool available, then that's a way of getting there. But as everyone has said, there are different ways of approaching this. There are different methods. There are different strategies to actually, work with corporations, because every single corporation or every single business, every single industry is different. There is no one way of doing things. There is no one correct answer to it. I do believe that that's when the expertise of the coach comes in. How can we actually get in there? How can we actually bring people on board? How can we show what coaching does? How can we show the benefits? So that's my good, bad, and ugly of soft skills and coaching.
Right. Silvia and Marie, any final words?
Well, I would say like coaching is like planting a seed, right? So when we plant it, what we don't say that the seed is bad and that's why it's not thriving and not growing. We're always looking at the environment that is in there. So therefore, there should be the right environment, and the coaches as well, as Silvia and Angela said as well. We have to. It's not only one-on-one, I would say, like work. It's the combined work and having that space where those seeds will be growing, and whatever we're planting in.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Silvia.
Yeah, staying on metaphor, I see it like basically a key that opens the treasure chest. So every time you find precious things, and you will learn precious things on yourself, and on the organization itself will learn, and we find diamonds amongst its population.
Well, Angela, any final words? I know we asked you, but that's good. Right. We could go for hours, and the topic is really interesting. But hopefully we'll see you another time. This is all our time for this evening or today. Thank you very much, Angela, Marie, and Silvia. I really appreciate your time, and all the knowledge you have shared. Until we see you again, and thanks to our audience as well, wherever you are watching. Goodbye.
Thank you, Jacob. Thank you.